The teachers we have hired in the last 3 years, it would take us 20 years if we hired them at the rate at which we were hiring before. But we made this deliberate because we could see the negative effects our learners and our learning and our education was suffering because of lack of teachers. We built more classrooms, as was said by Waziri, 23,000 and counting. We are building also another 1,600 laboratories across Kenya to make sure that no student, as has happened in the past, gets to a laboratory the day they are doing the exam. You know, how sometimes unfortunate it is. And we have reorganized the funding model so that it is student-centered. Through these investments, we are not merely expanding access to education. We are laying the foundation for a more equitable, competitive, and future-ready nation. At the same time, we have continued to invest in teacher development, expand digital learning infrastructure, and align education pathways with national development priorities. I'm very happy that STEM is now a real, program. And I was very happy that, the STEM students are up to 60, you told me? You are at? We are now at 52%, heading towards 60. And then we will keep improving so that we prepare ourselves for the future. We must be armed with a human capital that will take our country to the next level. At the level of higher education, we have undertaken bold reforms to ensure that access is fair, transparent, and sustainable. The new university funding model has shifted the focus from institutions to students, ensuring that financial support is provided based on need through a structured combination of scholarships, loans, and household contribution. This approach is enabling more young Kenyans to access higher education while safeguarding the long-term sustainability of the sector. Equally important is the transformation of technical and vocational training. We have positioned TVET as a critical central pillar of our economic agenda by expanding institutions, strengthening competence-based training, and deepening collaboration with industry. Through these efforts, we are ensuring that young people acquire relevant skills that lead to employment, entrepreneurship, and productivity, thereby directly contributing to national growth. I did inform Migosi and team at the Ministry of Education that technical education, and I had very serious challenges when I was Minister for Higher Education at some point on getting technical education to come to the center of our education and education outcomes. Because there was a notion built over time that the students who go to TVET are the students who are not very good. And that was very wrong. And that is why we have changed the perception. I am very happy that today learners choose where to go on the basis of where they see themselves into the future. And as a result, we have increased the numbers. In 2002, we had close to 300,000 students in our TVET. Today, we are at 800. Our target is to get to 2 million. I know there is a small problem somewhere which I'm sorting on matters to do with the resources available to teach those students. I have since discussed with the PS in that department and the Waziri and we're going to sort it out. Because we had two challenges. We want to make sure that it is affordable. That is why we worked with the Tibet institutions to reduce the fees from close to 100,000 to 67,000. And we have also modularized so that certification becomes more frequent. And you can get in and go out as you get more skills. So that is now working very well with a bit of challenges, but we are sorting it out because we want to make sure that we have more people equipped with technical skills. We've run into some headwinds, for example, with our housing program. You know, we need more plumbers, we need more electricians, we need more people who understand masonry, and we've had to resort to people who have learned on the job. And that is why we have also expanded the certification through recognition of prior learning, so that people who have learned the skill, who have the skill, they have a shorter runway in making sure that they get certification. The success of these reforms depend on the strength of our leadership, the integrity of our systems, and the effectiveness of our collaboration. The theme of this conference, driving effective education reforms through leadership, accountability, and collaboration, captures the core principles guiding our work and the engagements we're going to have in this conference. It speaks to the responsibility we all share to ensure that education reforms are not only well designed, but also effectively implemented and sustained across all levels and all systems. A working education system demands continuous and vigorous evaluation and review to align it with aspirations behind its introduction. This forum is therefore ideal, as it offers an opportunity for candid reflections on the state of our education. It is also an opportunity to assess our successes and reset our priorities. And congratulations, Warisiri and your team, for putting this forum together. I know this is the second forum. The first forum, I wasn't able to attend. But on being briefed on the engagements in the first forum, I made the decision that I will be coming to this forum every year because of the significance and the importance of not just education, but the need for us to collaborate, harness ideas, correct where there are wrongs, and streamline the whole education program because, as I have said, it is the single most important investment any society, community, or nation can invest in. And that is the reason why close to 30% of our national budget is spent on education, not as a cost, but as an investment. It is the reason why we have progressively enhanced the budget in this sector from approximately 500 billion in 2022 to 702 billion in this financial year and 767 billion in the coming financial year. We don't treat the investment and the resources we are putting in education as a cost to us. It is an investment we are making in our present and in our future. And that is why the theme of this conference, leadership, accountability, which comes with integrity, and also collaboration, is a very apt theme that brings us together to realize that reform requires bold leadership, because entrenched cultures don't give way easily. So we have to be courageous and bold to be able to implement the reforms that will align our education with the needs of the present and with the aspirations of the future. Accountability becomes a very central part of delivering on education, because the resources we are allocating, the public taxes that we allocate to education, 700 billion shillings is a lot of money. And integrity must be front and center in us delivering on education and making sure that we can account to the Kenyan public on the resources we are spending in education. I have been in this space for a while, both as a member of parliament and subsequently as a minister for higher education. And I know full well how important and how impactful delivery on education can be to not just our learners, but to our society in general. Leadership must be exercised at every level of our education system with a clear focus on delivery and on results. Accountability must guide the utilization of resources and the implementation of programs, ensuring that every investment translates into improved learning outcomes. Collaboration must bring together government, educators, communities, and partners in a shared effort to transform education. And that is why this forum is very significant and very consequential. It brings all of us together so that we can listen to one another, sample the ideas that we have, improve on what is not working, change what is not working, improve on what is working, and tap into better ideas on how to take this forward. We all agree that this is a space that is evolving because society is evolving. There were courses that were not part of us a few years ago that now must be central to how we move forward. And therefore, we cannot afford to stay static when the needs of society, when the needs of industry are changing. That's why this collaboration, the coming together of stakeholders, sponsors of schools, whether religious organizations or private sector organizations, the public schools, and everybody in between must be part of this conversation. And we must admit that we allow ourselves for a good idea to give way to a better one so that we can improve the space around learning in our society. I have also stated that as we go forward, we are going to put more resources in science, research, innovation, and technology. Because I strongly believe that no society can grow or develop beyond its capacity to think. and we must allow ourselves to, get the best minds to think for us, to innovate, to research, so that we can improve on the knowledge that we have, we can create new knowledge, and we can use knowledge to drive our development. This conference, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, provides an important opportunity to consolidate the progress we have made, align our efforts, and strengthen the implementation of reforms across the country. It is a platform not for finger pointing, not for accusing one person against another. It is a forum for us to think together and to work together. The common good of education is at the center of this. It is a platform to generate solutions, share experiences, and reaffirm our collective commitment to delivering an education system that works for every learner and for our nation. I am truly proud to be part of this conversation here in Naivasha. Asante sana. I thank you, and I look forward to some more engagement as we go forward. Asante sana. Why are we here? We are here because education is the single most important investment any society or nation can roll out. It's the single most important investment. The development of our human capital is the single most important to a nation. From the position I sit in as president, if there is one very important thing, is to have an educated, informed society. Number two, we are investing close to 700 billion, 28% of our budget. If education was not important, we wouldn't be investing that amount of money. And number three, we have close to, how many million learners, Waziri? 11 million learners, our children, in this space. And therefore, the coming together of these stakeholders, sponsors of schools, managers of schools, education leaders, government, to bring together our ideas, as I said, to refine what is working, to change what is not working, to improve, and to uptake new ideas is a very central part of the development of education. We've had instances where people take to podia in political rallies, in church meetings, in funerals, in weddings, to say all manner of things about education. This forum here gives us an opportunity not to talk at each other, but to talk together, to talk to each other and find solutions on how we go forward together. So that is why I think this forum is very important and significant.
There's a feeling that sometimes government is speaking to itself, because the reality sometimes in the ground, let's talk about transition of grade 10 learners. You just talk about 99 point something percent. But when you look at it, until yesterday, we can still see some learners who are still stuck at home. So do we have mechanisms where the government is actually getting the real data, say from the village elder to the sub-county director, and everybody else, so that we cannot be sitting and maybe just talking to ourselves in this room?
Precisely the point. That's why we have this meeting. We want to know from the stakeholders here. If, for example, we say we have hired 100,000 teachers, can OU here and the good people from Kopet, can they confirm? that is the case? When we say that we have built learning spaces, is that the case? When we say that we have changed the university funding model, is that the case? Do we need Professor Mugendi and team? Can they confirm to us that that is the case, or are we talking to ourselves? That's the reason why we're here. And I think that is a very progressive way of engaging rather than finger pointing and making statements sometimes that are not verifiable. When we were reforming the Tibet space, we used to have so many failures. You know, a mason fails the exam not because they don't have the masonry skill. It is because they failed English. So we asked ourselves, why are you forcing this mason to pass English when his skill is masonry, you know? So we scaled down the place of English, and we got many more masons passing because they knew how to do, they had the skill of masonry, but they were failing on English, you know? So that is how we managed to reform that space. Let me give you another example. And these are practical examples which we have had to delve into. What Ogamba has said, the 3 different pathways. We have many learners who are gifted differently. There are people who are not gifted on STEM subjects. They are good artists. They are good social scientists. But when you force them into a channel that emphasizes the things they are not good at, that is why, for a very long time, our education system produced too many failures. You know? Because we were failing our learners on areas that they were not good at, so that even the areas they were good at were undermined by the areas they were not good at. That's why having 3 pathways gives all our children equal opportunity to pass on the areas they are good at. And by the way, we need all of them. We need skills in STEM. We need skills in social science. We need skills in art. They complement society. They make us the society that we are. And that is why competence-based learning is the correct thing to go, the correct education system for us. Let me conclude by saying that, and it's good for us to speak, a bit of experience, because we've been in this space for a while, really helps. And I'm sure the teachers who are here will know that. There was a very big focus on passing a single exam. A single exam determined whether you were a failure or you passed. And that is why exams became a life and death issue. That is why exams were so militarized. There were policemen everywhere, intimidating children, making the whole place, tense, and even affecting the outcome of learning itself. That's why competence learning builds on the learning experience and the learning curve of the student. Every stage accounts for the final exam, so that the final exam becomes important, but what you have gone through is equally important. So that is why I am a very strong advocate for competence-based learning.